students who come from a school who use it and know how to use it, and students who come from ones who ban it, and now they're up against each other for a job. So fascinating stuff. How does that affect us in education? Greatly.
This is the year ChatGPT goes to school. Or if you zoom out a little bit, it is the year that students, teachers, and even a few willing administrators get schooled by generative AI. I'm Paul Taylor, and this is a special cover story episode of The Future in Context, taking you deeper into the issues that are shaping our world.
Space, the final frontier. To boldly go where no man has gone before.
You're not Buzz Lightyear.
I'm Siri.
And I'm Google.
And I am Alexa.
Alexa seems so smart. I think we'd have a lot to talk about.
There are lots of things we can do together.
Tell me about butterflies.
Pew, pew.
Aaron Gifford is staff writer, and Andrew Westrope is managing editor for the Center for Digital Education. The CDE team is responsible for a new special education edition of Government Technology, which is out this month. And Aaron, let's start with you. You wrote the cover story, and in it, the argument is that beginning with the first day, that this school year will be different in an important way from all other school years that have come before because of two little letters. Tell us about it.
Sure. Those two letters are AI for artificial intelligence. And one of the points a source made who I'd interviewed is they'll start to see chatbots quite more often. Probably over the summer, their school may have given the green light for them to use ChatGPT, which might help with students with writing. It's really mainly supposed to be used for ideas, and more than anything, really helps the teachers a lot with lesson planning and evaluation measures.
You know, this is an interesting moment. AI itself goes back now 6 or 7 decades, yet for schools and a number of other parts of the society and economy, it's new and it's fluid, and there's way more questions than there are answers. Based on your reporting, Aaron, what are the best of the schools and districts doing to make the most of this moment?
Sure. Well, they're embracing it. I've seen that schools, like in Georgia, for example, they even have a statewide curriculum. It's still a piloted program. There's a lot of development for teachers to learn, ongoing staff development. So it's really not a thing where they say, okay, try it out, figure it out for yourself. It seems like there's more preparedness with it than ever before, and it helps that it's been in the news so much. So it's not completely unfamiliar to the students and the parents.
So technology changes, but some old concerns remain, even with the evolution of all this stuff. Education is also unique. At the federal level, the Federal Department of Education is calling for an AI Bill of Rights, yet curriculum and other choices are made locally in education. Is there a model for getting out of the gates cleanly with AI?
I don't think there is yet, as far as I can tell. Again, the idea is at the local level. So the really closest thing is just through districts to do their best to communicate with parents and be receptive to any feedback and hear any concerns.
And is that what you're hearing, Andrew, as well?
Yeah, for the most part, it's a local decision. The Department of Education has issued guidelines and resources for districts to help them make these decisions, but there has been no top-down dictates about what they must do.
So among the many voices on the use of AI in education is Dr. Wendy Hannaski. Aaron, who is she? And why does she matter in this conversation?
Sure. She seems to be sort of a pioneer in Ohio, someone who went into education. I think she indicated her undergraduate was in psychology. What's interesting about Wendy and what I'm seeing with so many other folks that are kind of doing these seminars and teaching other teachers is these are mid-career people. So it's not a case of, some young person who just specializes in technology related, education. She has served as a traditional, in the most a traditional manner, and embraced AI as it came along. Continue to get, take staff development courses and just play around with it is the biggest thing. And she was able to demonstrate how someone who really didn't come from any sort of traditional technology and education background, after taking a few seminars, she could create lesson plans merging so many different things. Chat GPT is just one of them. The biggest thing for AI in education is for teachers to have an open mind and want to continue to learn. They don't have to be intimidated by the technology.
It's okay to allow yourself time to absorb everything that's going on in the world and find the right fits for you. Teachers can put in, this is the class that I'm teaching, this is the subject matter, I'm having difficulty teaching fractions to my students. And again, conversation back and forth, you prompt it, and you get the answer that works best for you.
Most of us are getting used to routinely calling Hey Siri or waking Alexa. But in her world, there's Hello History. What is that, and why is it making a difference?
Oh, thanks for mentioning that. I was struggling to remember the name of it, but Hello History is you can call up a historical figure, Harriet Tubman, even Jesus Christ, and the image that appears and a voice that you would think would go with that person. And
you have to look up Hello History. When you're learning about different historical figures in the past, how powerful would that be to have a face that you can talk to and interact with? So if you have a textbook and it's teaching you about this person, you're going to get what the textbook gives you, right? But what if you have questions? What if you could actually speak to that character and say, how did you feel at this point of time? And what did you do? Maya Angelou, because she has one of my favorite quotes of all time. And so I was asking her about this, why did you say that? And she said, it took me a long time to even get to this point, but I've noticed if you pay attention, people will show you who they are. We're talking.
For, students who have maybe already read about these folks, or adults coming to use it for the first time, it can seem pretty powerful. It's not just like a cartoon. I mean, the imagery and the sound of it, and even the script of the way they might talk, and what it appears to be that their thoughts are is pretty striking.
One of the things that interested me about her as a classroom teacher and not a natural born hacker, she does suggest some workarounds, particularly if you're in a school where the use of Chat GPT has been banned.
So for those schools, because I had a gentleman even say he was from Florida, he couldn't even get on here because they've banned it because of those kind of concerns. But my point is, if ChatGPT is not the answer for you right now, use some of the other products that are already approved. Use Canva, use Edpuzzle, start that way. Once it starts to build and people who are in decision-making positions start to see what the capabilities of, and plus you have to do policies. Everybody's talking about policy because industry is not banning this. Students who come from a school who use it and know how to use it, and students who come from ones who ban it, and now they're up against each other for a job. How does that affect us in education? Greatly.
What's that approach?
Chat GPT gets all the attention, seem to have gotten all the attention since late last year. Sometimes people just think AI equals Chat GPT. If they specifically cite Chat GPT, you still have Google Bard. It's really up to the schools if they're going to just do these blanket bans to describe it a little bit more. And not all AI is generative AI. So, things like, asking Alexa, asking Siri, even though they might not, you might not think it's a common school application. Just the array of AI tools is so vast that schools shouldn't automatically think, we don't have access to these things. There's a lot of tools out there that they may even actually already have under the existing, like Translate, Google Translator Microsoft Translator they may actually already have under the existing software packages that they contract for.
So there's some definitional clarity that may be useful in the education sector here too. Chat GPT is an instance of generative AI, but generative AI is a much broader category or universe of technologies. From the practitioners that you were talking to, do you think that distinction is clear? And if making it clear be helpful in this discussion as it moves forward?
I think the teachers do a pretty good job to describe it to the students. It's really connecting maybe with maybe there might be some board members or some parents or administrators who are kind of one level removed from that daily recognition of AI already in their lives or how they might use it at their job. It's just you really have to have everybody communicating about it.
What surprised you in reporting this piece?
One of the things that really surprised me, I never really thought of, is one of the sources. He's the founder of the Soapbox language AI-enabled engine. It indicated that so many of these technologies have the ability to continually assess students' performance, achievement, and whatnot. So the idea that, of having a final exam and a final marking period, the whole concept of an academic year at some point could become a thing of the past. So just the way, assessment is done, if it's done continually, it can change the school day, the school year as we know it. There might be able to be students who can really accelerate their own graduation dates. All we've ever known was the final, the final exam at the end of the year that goes back generations. And it's just hard to grasp that could be a thing of the past.
So AI finally takes over or triumphs over the agriculture-driven calendar. Where does this go from here?
I think it'll be looked at, are the students really learning these underlying concepts to eventually go into STEM to be engineers, or are they just basically facilitators of it? So, that's, I think, one of the things that'll continue to be looked at is it's a tool, but curriculums will have to be redesigned. Some classes will no longer be taught, and it's still a wide open question.
And Andrew, let's bring you back into the conversation. What's your sense of what's next or what's around the next corner?
Well, I think for school districts, what it means is sharing knowledge. It's going to mean, and approaches to this, it's going to mean a lot of conversation. It's going to be about engaging and talking to your educators and what they're seeing in their classrooms. It's going to be about retooling some of their technology plans to kind of address the concerns with AI and certainly with data sharing, data privacy plans. There's just a lot of details to be worked out, and I think that engaging teachers and stakeholders is going to be an important part of that.
And ed tech is not all AI all the time, nor is this special issue. What else is in the issue that helps reorient us towards what's coming or already here that needs to be confronted in education?
Sure. So one of the other features in the magazine is a piece by staff writer Brandon Picamian about STEM education, and that's science, technology, engineering, and math. It's also sometimes science, technology, engineering, art, and math, referred to as STEAM. And the story is about efforts to recruit students to those subjects. A couple of years ago, there was a report that came out about how China is on track to be far outpacing the U.S. in producing STEM PhD graduates. I think by the year 2025. There's just a prodigious number of job openings now. There will be in the future in fields like cybersecurity, artificial intelligence, data science, computer science, advanced manufacturing, and so forth. So one of the most important jobs of the U.S. education system will be to prepare a new generation of tech-savvy professionals to fill all these jobs and help drive our economy. Innovation is just a key part of our country's economic engine, and STEM is the educational fuel that drives that, if you will. This feature in the magazine, one of them is about what various programs are doing to recruit students to those subjects.
Can we drill down on those programs, whether STEAM or STEM? as kind of exemplars that others might look to follow?
So one the piece mentions, I think, is the Brooklyn STEAM Center in New York, which teaches specialized courses for high schoolers so they can earn industry certifications in fields like construction, technology, cybersecurity, software development, things like that. There's another one mentioned as the Innovative Technology Experiences for Students and Teachers program, ITEST. It's funded by the National Science Foundation, and it uses like summer camps and workshops and school-based programs, particularly in rural communities, to get kids interested in these subjects. There's another example of a localized effort that's the Lakota Cyber Academy. That's at Lakota Local School District in Ohio. They're offering internships and 3 courses that prepare students particularly for cybersecurity fields and industry certifications. And then another one that comes to mind was the Air Force Association's Cyber Patriot National Youth Cyber Defense Competition, I think it's a nationwide thing. It holds events during the school year that allow students to kind of approach real world cybersecurity scenarios. They find vulnerabilities in systems and things like that. So there's just a spectrum of local and regional and nationwide programs that are engaged in this project of trying to get kids interested in these subjects that our industries are really going to need, and they already do. There's so much to talk about and so much to write about, and the magazine is really just the tip of the iceberg. But there's a piece by staff writer Thad Ryder about student data privacy, given the proliferating number of technology tools in classrooms. It talks about how many pieces of technology most students and teachers use now, and touches on some of the state and local efforts to improve privacy, some lawsuits to that effect. The magazine also has a great post-mortem on this major cyber attack that hit LA Unified School District last year. Some lessons learned from that experience. There's also a back-to-school column from GovTech's executive editor, Noel Nell. I wrote a little opinion piece about AI. There's a piece from a Harvard Kennedy School professor about a new map-based data tool in Chicago. I think there's one from you, Paul, about data portability and what happens to your data when you switch platforms. So this is just, as I say, the tip of the iceberg as far as our education technology coverage.
And Aaron, final word belongs to you. What haven't we talked about but should have?
Sure. Just touch on equity. There's a sidebar in there about that. AI, a lot of these products aren't cheap. The Conmigo that just came out, I think a teacher indicated that might be $60 a student. So while a lot of AI tools are included in software packages, it's almost like an arms race. It will seem like an arms race for the latest and greatest in different schools. And there's also always that potential of making that gap deeper and wider than it already is. So it's just that's just a topic to pay attention to as we write about new technology or find out about some of this great research. Can steps also be taken to bring everybody along.
Great. Thank you, guys. All this work is available at govtech.com, and we will have specific links to the stories mentioned in the show notes at tfic.tech.
It seems like you're upset with me. I'm sorry about that. Please help me understand so I can improve. What did I do to make you upset?